is Ashley Ballard, and it is a joy to join you on this video. Today, I want to talk about active communication. That's right, think about it as a movement, a dance between at least two people. And when there's two people having a conversation, we must remember there's always one listener and one speaker at a time. Two people can't talk at the same time, or actually, they can. But it's not a successful conversation if two are talking at the same time. So we want to remember one speaker, one listener at a time. So let's talk a little bit about listening. If I were talking to a child, I would say, are your listening ears on? Let's attach your listening ears. Oh my goodness, your listening ears are making you such an excellent listener. Well, even as an adult, I have to ask myself, are my listening ears on? Because a lot of times we can engage in conversation and we can be so consumed with wanting to get a response over to that person that we're not actually being good listeners and taking in the information that they want us to have. So that's a little bit about active communication. I'm going to give 5 keys, if you want to call them keys, or simple steps to remember as you engage in active communication. And the reason why I consider this to be important during a pandemic, but really just in life, when we boost our communication skills, I think it just, can bring us peace and sanity, because a lot of things get misinterpreted and confused, and feelings can be hurt when conversations aren't going over smoothly. So, and when we speak, let's talk about the listener. So you heard about the good listener and putting on the good listening ears, but then when you are the person speaking, we have to remember that it's not just what we say, but it's how we say it, it's why we say it, and honestly, sometimes it's also what we don't say, whether it's intentional or unintentional. So again, in active communication, there's a lot of things to think about when you really want to have a good, healthy communication skill set. When we also are remembering others' emotions, we have to remember, a lot of what someone is saying is based upon their own experience. So a part of conversation is trying to put yourself in that other person's shoes to really come into understanding. It's again not about listening so that you can respond with what you want to say, but respond with something that shows that person that you heard them and you're gaining understanding in regards to what it is that they have been trying to tell you. So here are the 5 things that I believe we can all benefit from if we include it in our communications. The first thing is listening to understand and not to respond. I just pretty much gave examples of that. Like I said, a lot of times we can have so much information running around in our head and swirling about, because we're eager to respond. Sometimes we will respond not even in response to what that person was just saying, but it's our own information, it's our own point of view that we want to quickly get out to the other person. But if someone else is talking to you, make sure that your good listening ears are on so that you can listen to respond to what that person just finished saying. And you're listening to understand, most importantly. When you listen to understand, you can give an adequate response to that person. The second thing that you can do is, while listening, try to empathize with that person and not criticize. I know that I'm probably not the only person who has had a conversation and, I'm listening, and a part of all those words and things that are running around and swirling in my head are probably, they are so obnoxious. I wish they would stop talking. That's the criticizing instead of empathizing. When we push back those critical thoughts of the person who is speaking, we're able to try again to understand what it is that they are experiencing and what it is that they are trying to convey to you in the first place. The third thing is to show that you are listening. How do we do this? Well, one of the things that you don't want to do is, have a conversation and sit there scrolling through your Instagram or your Facebook or send a text message or read the latest COVID news, you want to make sure that you are fully engaged with your eyes so that that shows the person that your ears are open to them to receive what it is that they have to say. You also want to make sure that you're showing that you're listening with your body, that you don't appear to be disgruntled and disinterested in what it is that they're telling you, and making sure that you never turn your back to them. You're not looking into the sky, but you're showing with your eyes and your body that you are fully engaged and listening to what they have to say. Number 4, it's ask questions. If you are listening and you catch something that the person says to you and you don't understand, it is all right to ask a question. In fact, it's awesome for you to ask a question, because that lets that person know that you want to understand what it is that they are telling you. You are trying to gain clarity for yourself, but you are showing that person that you care and that you want to understand. Now remember, in your questioning, try not to include any criticism in your questioning either. Make sure that you show them through your questioning that you're asking not to negate what they're saying, not to make them feel uncomfortable, not to judge them, but simply for you to come into understanding. And lastly, number 5, respond. Do respond. You don't want to just sit there and allow a person to talk to you and share their experiences with you or whatever your conversation is about, and you have nothing to respond with. Make sure, however, when you respond, that you first start off with a statement that actually shows that you were listening to what they were saying. Either a statement or ask a question, just so that that person can know they heard me, I was heard, and that will settle them and their emotions. And then after you respond to what that person said, to one thing maybe, that person said, then you can come along with something that you would like to add to that conversation. Okay? So again, that's just 5 simple steps to remember. You're listening to understand. And while you're listening, you are empathizing with that person and not criticizing. You are showing with your eyes and your body that you are tuned in to what that person has to say. You're asking questions when necessary, and you are responding to something specific that that person said to you. We're not judging. We are not using a tone of voice that might intimidate the person. We're remembering that it is not what we say, but oftentimes it's how we say it, and even when we say it and why we're saying it. Our goal is to be good, solid, healthy communicators, especially during this time. It will give you peace of mind and the peace of mind to those that you are communicating with. Thank you so much. Be blessed and keep safe.